As the calendar turns from July to August, there are only 30-some days until the official summer season ends. A trip to Seaside Heights at the New Jersey shore can be your ticket to joy if you love cooling off in the ocean, strolling the iconic boardwalk, and indulging in all kinds of food, including giant slices of pizza, sausage sandwiches, and of course, ice cream. Seaside is also a town known for its resilience, grit, and determination, coming back after the devastation caused by Superstorm Sandy in 2012 and a raging boardwalk fire just 1 year later. I'm Sandra Levine. Today on Still Time for Joy, we talk to the mayor about how Seaside weathered these storms, and we'll hear about some ways to enjoy the town fun belt through the fall and beyond. So how's the summer been, Mayor?
Summer's been good. It's been a little quiet on weekdays, but we're getting communication with other shore resorts in New Jersey. It seems the economy is affecting the whole baseline of the state. But our weekends have been very good. Our practice is that we try to help the business community. So we put in place an ordinance starting the first week in August on Monday and Tuesday. Our beach fees will be reduced from $13 to $6 for those 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. That will encourage more people to come because we understand the economic factors facing our country.
They used to say Seaside was the town that fun built. Is that still a slogan around here?
It's still a slogan, but in a different way. At one time, our community, going back in the 60s, was more of a family destination. Middle-class people that worked in factories, immigrants from the 50s that came to the United States, enjoyed their week or two. Later on it changed and it became an area of entertainment, but in a different means. Dancing, bar scenes, and so forth. And that continued until probably the storm. And it was known for some wildlife, some MTV music, folks that put together a television show that created some havoc and a bad reputation for Seaside, but that's changed. And I accredit that to, sadly, because of Superstorm Sandy. We had an opportunity, we sat down and we said, many places were destroyed, both businesses and private property. This is a time to change our environment, construction-wise, from dilapidated houses to new construction. Let's turn around the atmosphere for the public to see a change. And we did. Our boardwalk became a different type of boardwalk. We said you can have bars, you can have dancing, but the food industry has to be your primary source. We did create a little problem with some of the businessmen at first, but now, 12 years later, they're very happy with the way it's going. Food service, dancing, drinking, but a different type of clientele. So it's worked. As far as properties, many people with the economy, when it was high, sold their properties, left town. Developers came in, knocked down the houses that were dilapidated, and put up million-dollar homes. So now we're an area that has million-dollar homes and more. We got a different clientele. They have extra monies in their pocketbook. Those type of people that could come down here and they spend it. We still are attracted to the middle-class income, and that middle-class income supports our community. So we do everything in our power to make it a family resort. Programs, activities on the beach, music at night, and a lot of free entertainment that we do.
Today is July 29th. Only a few days left in July, and then all of a sudden it's August.
Yeah, went quick.
Once you see August in your heart, you kind of know things are going to be wrapping up in just a matter of weeks.
Right.
There's still time to have some fun at the shore. What are some of the great things that Seaside Heights offers?
Well, if we're talking the remainder of the season, each Monday night we have doo-wop, which is for an older crowd, free entertainment on a Franklin Avenue stage. We have once a week a band review of personalities in the music industry that have invitation of the followings, be it the Beatles, be it the Rolling Stones, be it whoever, and it brings in a good crowd, and that's also free. Then we have paid entertainment, where we have a promoter come in, sets up the stage, music, and these are the true artists that come in. We have kite flying, we have scouting, we have camping weekends, we have Sunday night movies. We also have soccer, which is a very big thing, preseason. Now we're going into the postseason. We'll have the American fishing tournament, which will be the first time coming to Seaside Heights, with a $20,000 purse. That'll be postseason in October. We have the Seaside Heights Wine Fest. It's a minimal, I believe it's $10, but you get samples of the different wines if you want to purchase it. We also have free music that day. So it brings a lot of people. We have activities, Semper Fi race, St. Jude races. It's a continuing factor. One of the big events we've had for about 30 years is the Ocean County Italian Fest, where we close Grant Avenue completely. Vendors come from all over, basically an Italian tradition, and it brings other cultures in. The Portuguese culture comes and they bring in their dancers. The Italian culture brings in from Italy. They bring in dancers from Italy. So it's a showcase of different provinces in Italy, and each year it's different, and showcases the culture of that province. They also have a big parade on a Sunday, and you have everything you can think of, from the dancers to fire companies to ambulance to first aid to different organizations, antique shows, car antique shows, and this is a continuance. So we're really a community that stays open till the end of October, although we do things in the winter. For instance, we just rebuilt the carousel ride. That will be opened, where people can be entertained on the merry-go-round. It's going to be open all year, not every day. Right now, where our pre-planning is weekends. And of course, for the major holidays, the Christmas holiday will be open probably during the week in a few days. We also have different business people sponsoring first night on New Year's Eve and Christmas. We also have the business community that does Santa Claus, and they bring in kids and gifts for kids. So it continues, but the end of October is really a baseline of a stopping point. The beaches are our asset. That's our greatest asset, obviously. The ocean has not been any nicer than it could be. Temperatures were a little down, but they've risen to the 70-degree mark, but it's crystal clear. And everybody's remarking at the change over the years, how cleaner it gets each year. But our bay had not been used for many, many years. We revitalized it about a half a dozen years ago. If you go down the bay today, you'll see people on the bay beach. They'll be sitting there. We have lifeguards there. There are 2 lifeguards, and they have a sectioned off area for bay swimming. You'll see kids, particularly younger kids, playing kickball. They may have a bat and ball and so forth. Things that we can't do with a larger crowd on the beach, but we could do it down at the bay. So I really believe that's going to be a plus for us in the future, particularly for young families, because the ocean waters, if you're a non-swimmer, it can be very difficult and it can be dangerous. We just received the $850,000 grant from the state of New Jersey, Department of Community Affairs. We're going to have an inclusive playground for kids, particularly kids with handicaps. And that will be a plus. It will be built next year. There'll be new bathroom facilities. There'll be the rides for kids, all kids, those that are physically handicapped and those that aren't. So that's going to be a very big thing for us, an inclusive playground.
So tell me about the Boardwalk. I mean, what's great about the Boardwalk?
The Boardwalk has changed over the years. There's still amusements, there's still games of chance, but now we have restaurants. And because of the change in laws, and during the pandemic, Governor Murphy let our community use borough property to extend their businesses for that short period of time. Where before, if you were going to the restaurant or to the bar, you'd have to go in. Now there's outside seating, although the seating is on borough property. Because of that and the flavor of the community, the business people, the property owners, and our trade, our tourist trade, we kept it that way. And it made a terrific difference in just behaviors of people. People wanting to sit down and just watch other people walk by while they're eating or drinking. So we kept that. So that was another thing from another bad situation, pandemic, that caused us to change for the better.
And that's part of why I wanted to talk to you, Mayor. I find Seaside Heights to be a very resilient community. How would you describe the resilience of not only this town, but its people? You've had fires, you've had superstorms, you've had all kinds of issues here. How would you describe the tenacity of this town and the people?
Well, if I look back on the storm of 2012 and then the fire of 2013, I found the people to be very cooperative. They understood there was only so much that a municipality could do. A lot hindered on their relationships with their insurance companies, their private financial matters and so forth. But we worked together and we speeded a process so permits would be done quickly. And we got compliments because some people own property in Seaside, but also owned in neighboring communities and said, "You're so much faster," because we knew the importance of having it done quickly. So the resilience of people, it's there. They wanted to see change. They wanted it done quickly. They wanted to get back into their homes or their businesses. And there was a environment of we're going to help one another.
I was here in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy, and when you looked at the devastation in the town and the boardwalk was all torn up, you almost thought, we'll never come back.
I had stayed over at the firehouse because we're volunteer firemen, but I also stayed over because of the capacity of being president of council. When we got up that next morning, we didn't really sleep, but if we did take a nap, when we walked out, we couldn't believe what we saw. And we walked over hurdles of garbage and boats on the street, not really knowing where they were coming from. Went to the boardwalk, devastated. To see the roller coaster ride in the ocean, it was like, how do we get out of this? But we had helping hands, Governor Christie, his staff. We had the environmental people. We had the transportation people. We had our engineers. We had our local government officials. We sat down and we got through it. We planned. Each one of us took a different structure of rebuilding, and it worked. We were open that next spring. It happened October 29th. By March 30th, I'll say, give or take, we were open, which was remarkable because I happen to be familiar with the Florida, Fort Myers area. They got struck last year. It's going to take them years to build. And I'm looking at us and I said, we were very fortunate that we got this done quickly.
How did you do that? Was it hard work? Was it determination? Was it grit?
Both. And again, I give compliments for Governor Christie, was very adamant about helping us. Came weekly, called us up. How you guys doing? Do you need anything? Yes, we do. We also became a hub for other municipalities while they were doing the dunes of the aftermath. We became the hub of the equipment being stored here in Seaside. They would go up to Point Pleasant, Bay Head, Manalocan. So we developed a relationship with Governor Christie and with Governor Murphy, where we have a good communication systems that we could pick up the phone and talk to, in this particular time, Governor Murphy. At that time, Governor Christie. So it was a great relationship, and that meant a lot.
Sure. What about when the fire struck?
Well, the fire was another area. That was in 2013, in the fall of 2013. It started really in the community of Seaside Park, but it flowed through to Seaside Heights. And I compliment our chief of the fire company and our police and our firemen because they had the know-it-all of, if we could stop it here, it's not going to affect more damage further into Seaside Heights. And it worked. It was a barricade system in their mind that it blocked the fire from going further.
Yeah, what did they do? They broke through.
They broke through, and that's what stopped from more devastation. Now Seaside Park had to rebuild. From that Porter Ave south is all new.
So now it's 12 years after Superstorm Sandy, 11 years after the fire. Would you say Seaside Heights is totally back?
We're back, but growing. New developments, new housing, but we're also trying to have the boulevard redone. And the boulevard will be, I hope, a walking boulevard. Hopefully we'll have fine restaurants. We got restaurants now, but we want fine restaurants. We want to have a beauty salon. We want to have urgent care, medical facilities. We want to have a dress shop. We want to have a men's boutique. We want to have a barber. Perhaps in the future we'll see these things. It's going to take time, but we've already negotiated with developers that are opening retail stores. What they put in, we don't know yet because they're not completed. but we will have another activity where you can walk our boulevard and do other than Boardwalk, Ocean, and Bay.
What is the population here year-round, and what does it swell to on a busy summer day?
Average population is 3,000 a year. There's probably a little bit more, but 3,000. We could have 60, 70, 80,000 people, depending on weather, what's being offered that particular week. And it does change from a suburban community, ocean community, to a city. And you have to have a different focus when you're thinking city. People control, quality of life, safety. Our first aid calls go up, obviously. When you have 80,000 people, if you go to a football game, there's always going to be something. Somebody stepped on a rock, fell on a boardwalk, got bit by a fish, whatever. You've got to be prepared. We don't have that problem in the winter. There's a difference.
There was a little chaos on the boardwalk on Memorial Day, which turned out to be really nothing. People thought shots were fired, but there weren't shots fired. How has the summer been since then as far as...
Well, let me go back to the Memorial Day of 2023. The state of New Jersey, all the resort areas, every one of us got hit with young kids under 16 that caused mayhem throughout the state. Wildwood, Cape May, you name it. Well, we prepared ourselves. That September, the business administrator, chief of police, Chief Boyd, myself, we sat down with the two police commissioners and we said, listen, we can't have this. Let's be prepared. And we were. We were prepared for Memorial Day weekend in 2024. Ocean County Sheriff's Office, Prosecutor's Office, State Police, SWAT teams, dogs. This is preparation. They were here. They were here, so we felt comfortable until about 7 o'clock at night. Then I got the phone call and we met here in my office and we looked at the town. It was in chaos because someone on the boardwalk yelled out, shots fired. The investigations through the authorities hired in our local police found no evidence of that. Perhaps it was a firework, maybe not. Perhaps somebody just shouted out, maybe a car backfired. No one, but there were no shots fired. What I emphasized to everybody was we were prepared and it still happened. Communities south of us and north of us had the same problems. Ocean City, they had a stabbing. That's kind of unique for Ocean City. It doesn't happen there. They had problems in Wildwood. So now we have to change our focus to how are we going to change this with young kids that know they can get away with things. We've met as mayors, we've met as assembly people, as senators, and we're now working on, with the State House, legislation to say, you can't get away with doing these kind of things. You come down and you cause trouble, you or your parent have to have the consequences, whatever they may be. There was legislation that is still in effect that tied the police hands, and these young kids knew about it. You can't do nothing to me, I'm underage. What's your name? They'd have to get Joe Blow. Guess what the cop had to put down? Joe Blow. Because he could, that can't happen anymore. You've got to have consequences.
Sure.
You know, mischief, we're all understanding mischief, but destruction and ending the quality of life for good people, we're not going to have it.
So you have a curfew now?
We have a curfew at 10. It does work. It's not an easy job, but it does work. But that shouldn't be the answer. The answer should be you don't come down here or any community to cause trouble. They've had it in Toms River. They've had it in Ortley Beach. Communities that don't have boardwalks, hanging out in front of Wawa, 100 kids. This has got to stop because hang out, but hang out somewhere where it's going to be not interfere with businesses, not interfere with behaviors, and that's why we do a lot of things. There's a lot of things for young people to do in this community, and they don't take advantage of it. If you're under 18, there's a curfew. Now again, when do you use that curfew? If you have no problem, like Friday night, there was no problem. There is no curfew. But the legal part of it is you could be under 18 if you're going back and forth to work, going home, or accompanied by a parent. So you have no problem. It's a tool to use when there's a problem.
So Finally, Mayor, how do you like being mayor of this town?
Well, I've been mayor for 10 years. I enjoy it. As most people know, I didn't want to be mayor, but I did, and it fell into place. I'm seeing change, and I'm hearing compliments. And the compliments that we're getting as a team, as a community, from business and a property, are positive. I like to see the rest of my administration, the years that I have left in it, to develop an ongoing quality of life for people. If our people that are here year-round are happy and our summer trade is happy, it's never going to be perfect, then we've accomplished what we wanted in our 10 years of administration.
So is this a joyful job for you?
Well, it is a joyful job. I'm retired. It keeps me busy, which I enjoy. I don't want to sit home, and I could play golf, but I don't think I want to play golf 7 days a week. I could do other things, but it's talking to people, enjoying their company. The best thing I can tell you is I listen to people, and they have some great ideas. And you take those ideas and you say, you know what, we could do this if we could do this, this, and this. Or that's not going to work. It can't work because of this, this, and this. So that I enjoy that part of it.
If you found today's show helpful, please share the information with someone who needs it and follow Still Time for Joy for more practical tips on weathering life's storms, as well as inspiring stories of people who have turned their pain into purpose. Please consider supporting the work that goes into producing the show on Patreon. Follow Sandra Levine Productions on Facebook and YouTube, and learn more at sandralevine.com.